Good evening. Tonight, a new royal report is sparking conversation across Britain and beyond. According to emerging speculation from royal commentators, Princess Charlotte may one day inherit access to or stewardship of private apartments within Buckingham Palace, a move that, if accurate, is turning heads inside palace circles and among royal watchers alike. While no official confirmation has been issued by Buckingham Palace, the discussion itself raises important questions about succession planning, symbolism, and the evolving role of the monarchy's next generation. Why would such a decision matter? What are Buckingham Palace's private apartments, and how do they differ from state rooms? And what does this say about Princess Charlotte's long-term position within the royal family? Let's take a closer look. Buckingham Palace is not just a symbol of British monarchy, it is also a working residence. While millions recognize the grand balcony and staterooms used for ceremonies, much of the palace functions as private living quarters for the monarch and senior family members. Historically, these private apartments are not inherited in the conventional sense. They are assigned based on role, rank, and practical need. The sovereign occupies the principal suite, while other designated spaces may be allocated to immediate family. Therefore, any suggestion that Princess Charlotte could eventually assume a private apartment reflects forward-looking planning rather than immediate transfer. Princess Charlotte holds a historically significant place in the royal line of succession. As the daughter of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, Charlotte is currently third in line to the throne after her father and brother, Prince George. Notably, Charlotte became the first British princess to retain her position in the line of succession despite having a younger brother, following changes made under the Succession to the Crown Act, 2013. This legislative shift signaled modernization within the monarchy, a move toward gender equality in succession. Her potential future allocation within Buckingham Palace, therefore, would align with a broader theme of evolving tradition. It is important to clarify terminology. Royal residences operate differently from private estates. Properties like Balmoral or Sandringham may be personally owned, but Buckingham Palace belongs to the Crown Estate. Any private apartment arrangement would reflect official designation rather than personal inheritance. Therefore, reports suggesting Princess Charlotte's inheritance may refer to a long-term plan for designated space as she matures into a working royal role. Royal historians note that such decisions are typically based on anticipated duties. Several factors contribute to heightened interest. 1. Generational transition. Under King Charles III, the monarchy is gradually redefining its structure. Discussions about future apartment arrangements signal planning for decades ahead. 2. Charlotte's growing public presence. Though still young, Charlotte has demonstrated poise at public events. Observers often comment on her confidence and composure. 3. Symbolic messaging. Assigning prominent palace space to a future princess reinforces her institutional importance. Historically, royal women have held varying degrees of influence within palace structures. Princess Anne, for example, established her own independent path within the monarchy, often residing outside central palace quarters while maintaining a rigorous schedule of engagements. In contrast, future queens and senior princesses have traditionally maintained closer residence proximity to the sovereign. If Princess Charlotte were eventually granted designated apartments within Buckingham Palace, it could signal preparation for a substantial future public role. Public conversation inevitably connects Charlotte to her late grandmother, Princess Diana. Charlotte's full name includes Diana, reinforcing a generational bond. While apartment allocation would be administrative rather than sentimental, observers often interpret royal housing decisions symbolically. For some, positioning Charlotte prominently within Buckingham Palace would feel like a continuation of Diana's presence in the heart of the monarchy. However, analysts caution against overly emotional interpretations of practical planning. Catherine, Princess of Wales, has consistently emphasized balanced upbringing for her children. Reports suggest that William and Catherine prioritize stability and normalcy alongside royal duty. any long-term palace arrangement for Charlotte would likely reflect gradual integration into formal responsibilities rather than immediate relocation. Observers believe Catherine would ensure her daughter's transition into public life unfolds thoughtfully. Public reaction to the reports has ranged from excitement to skepticism. Supporters view the idea as affirmation of Charlotte's future importance. Critics argue that speculation about living arrangements for a young child risks premature projection. It is worth noting that royal planning often unfolds quietly over many years before visible changes occur. King Charles III has repeatedly emphasized a slimmed-down monarchy. This strategy aims to focus resources and visibility on core working royals. If Charlotte ultimately becomes a senior working royal, particularly as the sister of a future king, designated palace space would align with that streamlined vision. Such arrangements would reinforce clarity about hierarchy and responsibility. At its core, the story underscores the distinction between institutional planning and personal narrative. From an institutional standpoint, assigning apartments to future senior royals is practical governance. From a public standpoint, it becomes a symbol of trust, preparation, and generational continuity. The turning of heads may reflect how deeply invested audiences remain in the monarchy's evolving structure. At present, there is no official announcement confirming any apartment designation for Princess Charlotte. Any such decision would likely occur years from now, aligned with expanded duties. Until then, reports remain speculative. However, the conversation reveals a broader truth. The monarchy's future is being quietly shaped today. Buckingham Palace represents both tradition and transformation. Princess Charlotte represents a generation raised under modern expectations, yet anchored in centuries-old institution. Whether or not she eventually assumes private apartments within the palace walls, the speculation highlights her growing symbolic importance. As the royal family navigates transition under King Charles III and prepares for eventual leadership under Prince William, every structural decision carries meaning. Rumors surrounding the future living arrangements of members of the British royal family have long fascinated the public. The latest wave of speculation centers on claims that Princess Charlotte is set to inherit private apartments within Buckingham Palace, a suggestion that has sparked debate, curiosity, and a flurry of online commentary. At the heart of the discussion is Buckingham Palace, the official London residence of the British monarch. For generations, the palace has symbolized continuity, stability, and the enduring presence of the crown. But it is also a working building, undergoing one of the most significant refurbishments in its history, a 10-year sovereign grant-funded renovation project that includes rewiring, plumbing upgrades, and structural modernization. Against that backdrop, reports suggesting that Princess Charlotte of Wales could one day inherit private apartments inside the palace have raised questions. Is this an indication of a strategic shift within the monarchy, or simply the natural evolution of royal housing traditions? To understand the speculation, context is essential. Princess Charlotte, born in 2015 to Prince William, Prince of Wales, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, is currently third in line to the British throne, following her father and her older brother, Prince George of Wales. Under the modernized rules of succession introduced before her birth, gender no longer determines rank, meaning Charlotte's position is secure regardless of having a younger brother, Prince Louis of Wales. At present, the Wales family primarily resides at Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate, having relocated there in 2022. They also maintain access to other royal residences as required by duty. Buckingham Palace, meanwhile, functions primarily as a ceremonial and administrative headquarters rather than a private family home. Historically, inheritance of palace apartments has never functioned in the way the word might suggest. Royal residences are not privately owned assets passed down through wills. Instead, they are held in trust for the crown. Allocation of apartments has traditionally been determined by seniority, role, and need, overseen by the monarch and palace officials. So why then has Charlotte's name entered the conversation? Royal observers point to generational planning. As the monarchy continues to streamline under King Charles III, there has been a clear emphasis on focusing on the direct line of succession. King Charles III has repeatedly articulated his vision of a slimmed-down working monarchy, prioritizing those closest to the throne. If that structure continues, future arrangements within Buckingham Palace may increasingly center on the immediate heirs: William, George, and by extension, Charlotte and Louis. Some commentators speculate that assigning future apartments to Charlotte, even symbolically, would reflect recognition of her constitutional significance. As third in line, she occupies a historically powerful position for a royal daughter. Unlike previous generations, she will not be displaced in rank by younger brothers. However, palace insiders have consistently emphasized that no formal announcements have been made regarding Charlotte's future accommodation within Buckingham Palace. In fact, much of the reporting appears to stem from interpretative analysis rather than confirmed planning. It is also important to consider the palace's current state. The extensive refurbishment program means that many sections of the building are closed or under construction. Apartment reallocation, when it does occur, is often logistical rather than political. That said, symbolism matters deeply within royal culture. Buckingham Palace is more than bricks and mortar. It is a stage for state visits, balcony appearances, and national celebrations. The balcony moment during Platinum Jubilees, trooping the color ceremonies, and coronations often visually communicates hierarchy. Observers carefully analyze who stands where and with whom. Princess Charlotte's growing public profile has also contributed to heightened interest. Over the past few years, she has appeared increasingly confident during official events. Whether walking behind her great-grandmother's coffin during the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II or attending Trooping the Color ceremonies, she has demonstrated poise beyond her years. Her presence on the Buckingham Palace balcony alongside her parents and siblings has often been interpreted as a sign of generational continuity. In royal terms, proximity is messaging. Still, seasoned royal historians caution against overreading housing rumors. Throughout history, apartment assignments within the palace have shifted fluidly. Senior royals have moved in and out depending on marriage, separation, retirement, and changes in duty. The larger question may not be about Charlotte specifically, but about how the monarchy intends to project stability in the decades ahead. As Prince George grows closer to adolescence, conversations about his eventual role as Prince of Wales and ultimately King will intensify. Charlotte's position as a supportive but constitutionally significant sibling may evolve into a modern equivalent of Princess Anne's role during her brother Charles's reign. Interestingly, comparisons are often drawn to Princess Anne herself, known for her work ethic and loyalty. While Anne never resided permanently in Buckingham Palace apartments as a young adult in the way some imagine, her long-standing presence within royal life underscores how second children can carve out enduring institutional influence. The current speculation also highlights broader public fascination with succession planning. In the era of instant news cycles and social media analysis, even minor logistical details can be framed as seismic shifts. Palace aides traditionally avoid commenting on hypothetical future arrangements, particularly when they involve minors. Protecting the privacy and normal upbringing of William and Catherine's children remains a stated priority. Indeed, the Wales family's move to Adelaide Cottage was widely interpreted as a step toward providing their children with a quieter environment outside central London. The decision reflected a balance between duty and domestic normalcy. If Charlotte were ever to be allocated apartments within Buckingham Palace decades from now, it would likely coincide with expanded responsibilities and adulthood, not as a childhood inheritance. The use of the term inheritance may therefore be misleading. Royal residences do not function like private estates. They are part of the Crown estate or held in trust, with usage determined by reigning monarchs. Moreover, Buckingham Palace itself is undergoing structural transformation. The modernization project is designed to preserve the building for at least 50 years. Future living arrangements may look very different from those of previous generations. Public curiosity, however, remains high. In many ways, the speculation speaks less about real estate and more about the monarchy's future identity. As Britain navigates social and political change, symbolic continuity plays a stabilizing role. Seeing the next generation, George, Charlotte, and Louis, visibly integrated into royal life reassures supporters of the institution's longevity. Charlotte's prominence also represents a quiet cultural shift. Born into a monarchy that no longer prioritizes male heirs over female siblings, she embodies a more modern constitutional principle. Ultimately, there is no official confirmation that Princess Charlotte is set to inherit Buckingham Palace apartments. What exists instead is a blend of analysis, historical comparison, and anticipation of how the House of Windsor will manage succession in the 21st century. For now, the palace remains both a workplace and a national symbol, one whose walls have witnessed centuries of adaptation, and as Princess Charlotte continues to grow into her role, every gesture, every appearance, and every rumor will likely continue to spark discussion about what the future of the monarchy may hold. For now, the palace remains silent, but in royal life, even whispers about rooms behind closed doors can spark global fascination. Good night.